Hi everybody. We are going to talk about Assignment 2, Milestone 1, First Draft. We are officially on our first draft. How awesome is that? Again, we're going to revisit some of the questions that we've answered before from our writing plans in the past, and we're going to start processing it into an actual first draft. Before we get started exploring this assignment, I want to remind you that this is a milestone assignment, therefore you're going to have to submit it twice, once through MindEdge, and then make sure that you download it into a Word document. Clean it up, make sure that it is a solid essay, make sure you have a cover page if you're writing an APA, make sure you have a reference page or a works cited page, make sure that your citations are correct. We want it to look like an actual essay, so indent those paragraphs, double space it, and there are references in our Blackboard space to support explaining and showing what a proper essay should look like. But of course, if you have any questions, you can always connect with me or with the SNHU Online Writing Center and hit up the general questions discussion forum too, and then maybe we can have a discussion there that supports the whole class, because remember, any question that you have, somebody else might have as well. Alright, so we're talking about our first draft. How super awesome is this? It is incredibly awesome. You guys are doing great work to get to this point in the term. Alright, so far you've written your initial reaction to your selected article in your writing notes, and you've expanded on that with your writing plan, and then we spent last week kind of incubating on those ideas. So now we're going to reassess, reread your notes, reread your writing plan, reread that essay, and use this guided activity to kind of walk through the answers and help you formulate that first draft, okay? So we are going to kind of walk through and talk with these questions, but again, I want you to remember to submit this not only in MindEdge, but download it into your Microsoft Word or the equivalent. Open that up, fix it, make it a solid essay, and then upload that essay to Blackboard. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the guided questions that we're having here. And remember, these questions are prompts. You do need to answer them, but we also want to make sure that we are creating and crafting full paragraphs. Occasionally in these questions, they're going to say write 3 to 4 sentences or write 1 sentence, but our goal is to transition these into actual full-length paragraphs as we go. So just keep that in mind as you begin writing. Alright, after reading your selected article again, I want you to write a 3 to 4 sentence overview of the work, briefly describing the main points and your thoughts about that writing. Be sure that you include the author's name and the title of the article. It's very important that you do so because we don't want to assume that your audience will know right off the bat which article you are talking about, so make sure you include the author's name as well as the essay title. And this is going to be part of your introduction, okay? So keep that in mind as you're answering these questions that we're actually crafting our essay. It's so cool. Alright, question 2. On your writing plan, you wrote a claim to be addressed in your analysis essay. For me, with working with McFadden's essay, my claim is that the author has a valid point, but her use of strong language kind of colors her point. She comes off as biased. Okay, so that would be my claim. Your claim is likely going to be different. So revisit your claim. And remember, your claim should clearly state what you believe the author's goal is, whether or not you agree with that goal, and why you had this reaction. Okay, so after rereading and reevaluating the article, have you changed your claim at all? After deeper analysis, has your opinion changed at all? If so, rewrite your claim and make sure that you're addressing the author's goal, your reaction, and why you had this reaction. If your claim has stayed the same, just simply retype it in here and make sure that you're fitting that goal of 5 sentences for each paragraph. Okay. And now we're going to start talking about our key points again. In the writing plan, you listed 3 possible key points that the author used to support his or her goal. Rewrite the first supporting point in this text box below, and then list one way in which the reading supports this point. So McFadden doesn't like the gender-neutral terms. That is one of my key points, and now I need to explain one way in which the reading supports that. Okay. 4. Now we're looking at our evidence to support this first key point. This is where we go into our essay and we find an actual piece of evidence, an actual directly quoted sentence, or maybe a paraphrased sentence, or maybe a summary of a section of the article. So if I'm saying that McFadden doesn't like gender-neutral terms and I think that her language is strong and insulting, I need to go into that paper, that essay, and find a specific example of strong and insulting language that prevents the reader from understanding her point. Okay, so you have your claim, and now we're trying to find evidence to support it. Okay, and we talked about this in the writing plan too, so take that information and transition it to a fully complete idea, and make sure that you do put quotation marks around your direct quotes, and make sure that you include a citation, either in an MLA or APA format. Okay. And then write 1 to 2 sentences explaining how this piece of evidence supports the author's goal, and then write 4 or more sentences that explain your reaction to the author's key point. Do you agree or disagree with this key point and its evidence? Do you think the author met his or her own goal with the evidence being presented? Do you think it's effective? Okay, so say a key point, provide evidence for that key point, and then talk about whether or not that was successful. Talk about your opinion, your reaction. We're transitioning from our notes to our writing plan to our draft, okay? And then we're going to repeat this process for the additional key points that we found. Remember, we're looking for 3 key points. So for number 6, find the second key point, look for that specific evidence, and then write a response to it, okay? And then do the same for your third key point. Find some evidence, and then talk about it, okay? And then in 12, we want to restate our claim, excuse me, exactly as it is in question 2. Our claim is going to become our thesis, okay? So now we're kind of reiterating our claim / thesis for 12. And then for 13, kind of summarize your reaction to the author's key supporting points, questions 3 through 11. Essentially what we're doing is summarizing that. And this is going to be worked into our conclusion, okay? So you're revisiting what you talked about in 3 to 4 sentences. And then 14, we want to explain at least 2 insights about your claim established through your analysis. So what has been learned about your analysis? Why is it important? Offer 2 key insights to support your claim, okay? And then remember, it is absolutely crucial that you submit your writing notes in MindEdge, download that Word document, and then also upload it in Blackboard, okay? All right. We are going to take a look at the rubric real quick just to make sure that Blackboard and MindEdge are on the same page, because remember, MindEdge and the rubric work together to support our success, okay? And here we go. All right, assignment 2, milestone 1. We just talked about exactly what we're doing with our prompt in MindEdge, and this is where it's very important that you understand that we're crafting our essay now. So we're going to want to have an introduction, and the first couple questions in MindEdge support your introduction. Okay, and then we want to have a body, and that's where questions 3 through 11 are, where we talk about a key point, the evidence, and then we discuss it. Those are going to be our body paragraphs. Let's aim to have a paragraph for each set of information supporting a key point. Okay, and then you're going to have a conclusion. That's where you restate your claim / thesis and offer 2 insights. Okay, so there's going to be 3 main points, critical elements that we're really looking at here. We want to have a clear introduction, some body paragraphs, and a clear conclusion. Okay. All right, the draft should be 1 to 2 pages in length, but you are certainly welcome to write more. You know, as we write our paragraphs, our papers are going to get longer. It's really cool like that. And now let's take a look at our critical elements. Introduction. Do you provide an overview of the work being analyzed, including the author and the name of the essay? Also, in your introduction, do you have a thesis statement that states your claim? Remember, we haven't really worked on developing a solid thesis yet. What we're really looking for is your claim. Is your claim clearly presented? Okay, and that's what we're going to be looking at the introductory paragraphs. All right, and then in our body, remember where we're talking about our 3 key points, providing evidence and exploring that evidence. We want to look for multiple paragraphs that are focused, clearly state their intent, and build to support that claim / thesis that we're talking about. In your body, we also want to look at body paragraphs. Do your body paragraphs support the claim by combining thoughts and ideas with evidence? Do you put in a direct quotation and then talk about how that quotation supports that key point, and that key point in turn is supporting your claim? Okay, so we're writing our paper now. It's super cool. And then we're also going to be looking at that conclusion. Remember where you review your claim and you summarize those key points? That's like question, I don't remember, 11 or 12. The second to last one. And then for your final question, it's going to translate also into your conclusion, where you have a couple insights about the claim that you established through your analysis. Okay, so do we see how we go from the MindEdge questions to an actual formulated essay. The first 2 questions support our introduction, and then 3 through 11 support our body, and then the last 2 support our conclusion. Okay, so let's make sure that we're really crafting good quality paragraphs to support our essay. And then again, we want to look at the articulation of response. No major errors related to citation, grammar, spelling, syntax, excuse me, or organization. And now we're also going to actively be looking at those citations because they are required. So let's make sure that our parenthetical citations have the author's last name and then the appropriate information, and do make sure that you include a works cited page or a reference page depending on if you're writing an APA or MLA. Alright, I know that this is a big assignment and there's a lot of information that we just went over. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me, text me, call me. We can even Skype if you want to have that connection, and I'll be happy to talk you through this process. Of course, if you have general questions, hit up the discussion forums. And then, if you have a question, maybe the whole class can benefit from it. And also, you can always connect with the SNHU Online Writing Center. They're a really cool group of people that will be happy to support you in this process as well. All right. Good luck. You don't need luck. You've got this. It's going to be awesome.